I think the reason why Keith is here for all kinds, I mean, other than the fact that he's someone who's always got things to say that are important about cinema, is that I think having had a long history, that's not a euphemism, you've had a long history in this business and also other forms of industry as well. And what we've been hearing, I think, and worries me a lot when we're talking about digital change and we're talking about new approaches, is it's like everything is new. Nothing's ever been discussed before. And I wonder whether you see, within your own work, going back to the years maybe before you were in film, you see things that perhaps we could learn or maybe echoes that we ought to be looking back to.
Cinema is about imagination, I suppose, so we might as well challenge the audience immediately. If you could imagine me with shoulder-length hair, that's perhaps where we're going back to. And I started a lot of the work pre-producing the sort of work I have for 30-odd years in music, doing light shows for Jimi Hendrix and goodness knows what. I know it's difficult to imagine. It was my job somehow, remembering there was no pop promos or anything like that, to persuade somehow people to want to buy a young shaggy-haired monster called Rod Stewart or an odd heavy rock band called Juicy Lucy. This was quite a challenge in those days, and what we had to do was reinvent ourselves in a way as rock musicians and go on the road and meet people and call centres and record stockists and the equivalent of the small record shop or the small club art centre, and persuade them to take a stock of vinyl records. This was a very tactile, physical business. It was about meeting people. And that experience of meeting people, whatever the challenges of a digital communication world which has accelerated so fast, it seems to me is one of those really key experiences which has led all the way through the working of the sort of niche cinema I've made.
You know, the marketing and the sense of the audience seems to be at the heart of the way you think about.
Yes, I mean, it still affects. Even today, I think about the connection post-production and finance, which we're not talking about here, is I still have a record, a music mentor system, in a sense, in place. And that would be, for me, someone like Manfred Eicher, who runs ECM Records, where when you are looking for that sort of music, whether it's Arvo Pärt from a classic side or Keith Jarrett, you know absolutely what sort of product you're going to get from a particular brand, an ECM brand. And in a way, I think that's what we try to nurture at Illuminations Films, that you can be pretty certain what's going to come from Illuminations Films if you want to book one of the films.
Perhaps the festival circuit is where a lot of these films go, but you would, that idea of putting it out and being seen, how important is that to you, these niche films getting this big life?
It's absolutely critical to me, but you could, and I'm not in favour of this, you could spend, and a lot of filmmakers do, spend their whole lives circulating their films through the film festival circuit. But I'm, in fact, slightly more choosy about it, and perhaps a little bit more restrictive about the nature of how far I spread through the film festivals. I make sure that every film fits the right sort of festival that I want to go. I'm more interested actually in this sort of circuit dissemination than I am in the film festival.
So you can see in this kind of approach that's being discussed here, you could actually see the basis for maybe...
Absolutely, I would actually feel very comfortable. I think our films on the whole will, in the past, have fitted extremely well into that sort of circuit exhibition.
Okay, well, let's thank Keith.